All right, hey everyone, Wesley here. So in this video, I just want to briefly kind of go over personal knowledge management, what it is, what it consists of, and the value it's provided for me in my life and my learning experiences. And basically, everything I'm going to show you, everything I'm going to go over, they're just notes in a note-taking application called Obsidian. And so I've made the files that Obsidian reads, because it just reads your files on your local file system on GitHub. So I'll add the link to that in the video description. And basically, if you head over here, kind of gives you a bit of an overview of what Obsidian is, and then a guide on how to get set up. So yeah, I'd recommend heading to the Obsidian website, downloading the application, and then following the rest of the guide to have these notes, like these files and these folders set up in Obsidian, and then you can kind of navigate through it and get a sense for what Obsidian is and what you can kind of do within the different ways you can structure your own notes. And so I guess the reason this is important to me, the reason I'm giving this presentation is because during my undergraduate degree, or when I finished my undergraduate degree, I kind of was reflecting on my just overall experience, and I was really bothered by how quickly I would forget things after a semester. And so I figured I knew something was up. Like, I knew there was probably a different way to like write notes and to learn material so that I'd actually retain it for longer than a semester. But I was just so overloaded with the amount of work that I just never really looked into it too deeply. And then after I graduated, I kind of started looking into it, and eventually discovered the field of personal knowledge management. And as I started to learn more about it and experiment with some of the different tools and techniques, I realized that these tools have fundamentally changed the way I approach learning and note-taking. And if I had known about them in university, I think my experience would have been completely different. And so, yeah, I really just want to kind of share what I've learned in the past year and a bit, and yeah, hope to help get you started on your own personal knowledge management journey. So, yeah, I guess just a kind of a brief overview of what personal knowledge management is. It kind of consists of a set of tools and techniques for learning, such that our knowledge compounds over time, so that as we learn more, we're able to learn more with the existing knowledge, and so it kind of just compounds in a nice way. And I guess I kind of think of three main categories of personal knowledge management, just to, I guess, make it easy to kind of break it down. And so those are just information processing, note-taking, and memory. And you're kind of getting a taste of the note-taking aspect of personal knowledge management as I kind of go through this Obsidian Vault. And as you go through it yourself, if you follow the steps. So I don't want to get into too many of the details, because there is, a decent amount of information in this vault, and the idea is that you kind of just go through it yourself, but I can kind of briefly just give a quick overview. And so like with information processing is one of the main components of personal knowledge management. I think the most kind of important thing to note is just this idea of delayed content consumption and having content inboxes. So basically just having a way to save websites or digital resources of any kind to some kind of inbox, or you might have multiple inboxes, so that you don't really break your flow or whatever you're currently focusing on, and then you can come back to that inbox when you've set some time aside, and you can be a little bit more focused and intentional to give that content the time it deserves. And yeah, so I've written a little bit about that in this page, and give some links to some of the services that I use, but there's tons out there. Yeah, okay, so I guess moving on to network note-taking. I mean, as you probably have seen just from the video so far, it's a way to structure notes as a network as opposed to a hierarchical tree. So I guess to show that, I kind of use this diagram to visually represent what your file system is like on your computer. You have folders, and then in those folders you have subfolders and subfolders, and then you eventually have files. And so just the process of navigating this tree to find things can be really difficult and not intuitive. But network note-taking is totally different, in the sense that there's multiple ways to access any file, and it forms a network. And yeah, so I've just tried to kind of represent that here. And so the cool thing about Obsidian is that you can kind of get this graph view of all the notes. So these are all of the notes in this Obsidian folder, represented as a graph. So you can see these nodes are individual notes, and then it shows you which other notes they link to. So as you can see, this page links to all of these other ones, and then you can kind of like, see the structure here. Yeah, so I thought that was yeah, I think that's pretty neat. Yeah, so I guess on this page I just kind of get into, I guess, a little bit of the specifics. Like here, I'm basically just saying that network note-taking might seem like a foreign concept, but in reality we're actually all really quite familiar with kind of graph-based note structures, and a great example is Wikipedia. You go to a Wikipedia page, and then you can navigate to other pages from inside Wikipedia. So kind of like, how this page might have, it might link to other pages in this Obsidian vault. And so there's like a number of different applications you can use. The one I'm using right now is Obsidian, but there's tons of other ones out there, and they all kind of have different feature sets, and so their use cases are slightly different, and it kind of depends on your preferences. But Obsidian's a great one just to get started, to kind of get familiar with the whole concept of network note-taking. And then here I kind of just go over some of the key features that you want in any of the network note-taking applications that you use, like being able to make links quickly, being able to see backlinks. So in Obsidian, to see backlinks, you just go over to this right sidebar, and then it will show you all the other notes that link to the current page that I'm on. So here it's showing all these other notes that contain this link, and as you can see, maybe in Obsidian the link is denoted by these double square brackets. I already showed the graph view, embedded notes. I'll get into that. So let's show a little bit more about Obsidian. What's cool about Obsidian is, so on that other page in yeah, this one here, I talked about embedded notes. So you can see that in this page here. So, okay, so Obsidian uses Markdown as the way to format text. So like how to indicate something as a header or as an equation or bold or italics or whatever. You have two different views. So right now I'm in the preview mode, so I can't actually write anything in here. But if I want to switch to edit mode, just click that button up there, and then it shows you the text in its editable way. So yeah, you can see that Markdown. If you're not familiar with it, it's just a way to kind of indicate the format of certain text by using just characters. So here you use the hashtag character, and then that indicates something as a header. And then you can indicate math and code and yeah. Anyway, there's a link, and you can just check out the link here, and it'll show you all the different things you can do with Markdown. And then what's cool about Obsidian, this is like an Obsidian specific feature, is being able to embed other notes, and not just other notes, but actually specific sections of other notes. So here you can see this double square bracket. So okay, in Obsidian, when you make a link, you can use double square brackets. So here I use the double square brackets, and now it's pulling up a list of all the other notes in this Obsidian vault. So I could click on any of these. Sure, this one. So now I've just created a link from this page Obsidian to this page Personal Knowledge Management. So I could go ahead and click through to it if I wanted to. But what I wanted to show you is that not only can you link to specific pages, but you can actually reference specific sections within that page. And then on top of that, you can actually embed that page or that section inside another note. So here I put this exclamation mark in front of the link, and now what that does is when I go to the preview mode, it actually kind of like embeds that section of that note in this Obsidian page. Because if I click through, the contents here are actually in this note called README, but they kind of are rendered in this Obsidian page as well. And anyway, if it seems like I'm kind of going through things quickly, yeah, don't worry about it. You can kind of just come back to this video or experiment in Obsidian and try things out. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it really is a pretty kind of, it's a much more intuitive way to structure your notes. And it makes it just a lot easier to find notes, and yeah, to not just get them lost in this kind of hierarchical tree that we're so used to. Yeah, and so here I kind of just outlined the basic features, or some of the key features of Obsidian. So you've already seen the quick switcher, which is this. You can see all the different notes you have and start typing, and then it'll pull up any notes that have elements of this search term, and you can open them up directly from here. You can also so you can like use the arrow key to select them, and then you can hit like the hashtag. Oh, let's see, and then it'll oh, I guess it, anyway, there's a way to kind of see that. Oh, I guess it's not from that one. Yeah, okay, and then you have like a command palette here, so any kind of command you can, like clicking on any buttons, like so for example, this button here, expanding this sidebar, I could actually do it from the command palette. So let's see, toggle right sidebar, see, and then I could do that again, so Command P to open up the command palette, toggle right sidebar. Right, so anyway, it's just kind of like a nice way to get familiar with some of the commands, and then you could make shortcuts if you wanted to. yeah, so just, yeah, it might take a little bit of time to orient yourself within Obsidian, um, but I think it's relatively straightforward. You know, you have this kind of menu bar on the left to see all your notes and folders, and yeah, a few different things that you can select here. And then I also link to some public examples of network notes, just to get a sense of like how you can kind of structure your notes differently when you can use network note-taking applications, and the value that can provide. And I know at first it can be a challenge to know like how do you title a note, and you know what are good ways to link between them and stuff like that. And so these can help with that. Okay, next I think just quickly, I guess like the third part of personal knowledge management that I want to briefly talk about was just spaced repetition flashcards. And it's basically just writing flashcards. What makes them special is that the interval between reviews uses a special formula, which basically minimizes the amount of time spent reviewing flashcards. And this is really common among like med school students, but honestly, it's just helpful for anyone that's curious and likes learning. And there's a bit of an art to writing good flashcards. And yeah, just some practice, but honestly, it's such the value you get out of writing and reviewing flashcards, compared to how much time you spend doing it is incredible. Like if there was one thing I could have done differently during my undergraduate degree, would have just been to like have started using spaced repetition flashcards from first year, and maybe just write a couple flashcards, even if it was just a couple flashcards per course, but it could easily be like, you know, a couple flashcards per section of each course, and it wouldn't be very hard to have continued to review those throughout the entire degree, and then I would have retained so much more information across the entire span of my degree, which just would have helped like connect old knowledge that I had learned from previous years with like knowledge that I was learning, or content of courses that I was learning in upper years. Okay, yeah, I guess I think that's pretty much it. Like I just wanted to give a brief overview of what's in these notes. Of course, you know, try and follow the guide on GitHub, and just kind of go through them yourself, and just yeah, I'd encourage you to try and get familiar with Obsidian. Yeah, I mean these tools are incredibly powerful, and I think they're kind of necessary to not be completely overwhelmed and overloaded with the amount of information that's available now with the internet, and that's only going to continue to increase. And so, and also just the importance of continuous learning, and yeah, like these three kind of habits that I've built. Yeah, these ones here, information processing, note-taking, and memory, have really made a profound difference in how I approach learning, and what I retain from my learning, and my ability to grow my knowledge. So yeah, I think I would say that that's about it. This page has some further resources to dive into if you find this stuff interesting. Yeah, but anyway, I hope you find this stuff helpful, and you know, obviously let me know if you have any questions. And I think one important thing to note is that, yeah, it will take time to get familiar with this stuff, but there's no rush. If you're committed to lifelong learning, then you'll probably be using tools like this for quite a long time. So yeah, just try and approach it with like an exploratory mindset where you're just, trying new things and seeing like, oh, how can I make a link this way, or how do I want to like section my notes and then maybe embed them in other sections and stuff like that. And before you know it, you'll be a personal knowledge management enthusiast just like me. All right. Yeah, thanks for watching, and catch you all in the next one.